Today we're going to spend 6 minutes or so talking about another part of speech, prepositions. We've talked about nouns, which is a person, place, or thing. We've talked about pronouns, which take the place of nouns, and we've talked a little about verbs. Prepositions are very confusing for a lot of people. I think the reason for that is that every language has prepositions, and no two languages use them exactly alike. So we're going to take a look at how we use some very common prepositions in English. We're going to start by talking about what a preposition is. But before we do that, I want to point out something that I've found really helpful. This is Warner's English Grammar and Composition. It comes in first course through, I think, fifth course. It was a book originally written for students in middle school and high school in the United States in the 50s, 60s, and really through the 1970s. It is simply the best grammar book that I have found. It's simple, it's clear, and it's really, really complete. You could do far worse than finding yourself a copy of Warner's English Grammar. The other big advantage this book has is it's really, really cheap. There are a lot of these old books around on Amazon and elsewhere, and frankly, if you're paying more than about $10 for a copy of Warner's English Grammar, you are paying way too much. You can find these things for as little as $1. And I really suggest, if you are looking for a good English grammar book that will work for you for a long time, you can do a whole lot worse than getting a copy of Warner's English Grammar. So let's talk about prepositions. About is a preposition. Well, let's get to the subject. Wait a minute. To is a preposition also. It's really hard to make a sentence without using a preposition in it someplace. In is a preposition as well. According to my trusty Warner's English Grammar, a preposition is a word used to show the relationship of a noun or a pronoun to some other word in the sentence. It's probably easier to understand that with a couple of examples. He is at the school. In this sentence, at is a preposition showing the relationship of a noun or a pronoun, in this case, school, to some other word in the sentence, in this case, is. This group of words, at the school, the preposition and the words that go with it, are what we call a prepositional phrase. We'll talk more about that later, but for now, understand that a prepositional phrase can link a noun or a pronoun with either a verb, as it did in this sentence, or a noun or a pronoun, as it's doing here. Let's start with the preposition in, which we use to refer to both place and time. For time, we use it for years, seasons, and months. In 2004, in spring, in August. We never say on 2004, for example, or on spring or at spring. Always in for years, seasons, and months. For place, we're talking about something contained inside something else. In the street, in the park, in the city, in the neighborhood, in the United States, and so on. For on, we can also use to talk about both place and time. And for time, we use it always for days of the week, on Mondays, on Sundays, etc. Never in or at, always on for days of the week. For place, we use it to speak about on the surface of something. He is walking on the sidewalk. It is also possible to use more than one preposition for the same thing depending on what you're trying to say. I was walking on the street, or I was walking in the street. What's the difference? Well, it depends on what you want to emphasize. If I'm talking about the surface, it's on the street. In my video, I said in the street, because what was important to me was that I was in a place where I was likely to get hit by a car. So it very much depends on what you want to say. I'm walking on the sidewalk. I'm also walking in the park. The park is in my neighborhood. So I'm walking on the sidewalk, in the park, in my neighborhood, in the town where I live, Cincinnati. Now I'm walking toward the street. I'm walking now on the sidewalk beside the street. Now I'm walking into the street. Probably not a good idea, because I am now in danger of being hit by a car. So I think I'll go back onto the sidewalk, and now I'm walking on the sidewalk again. Okay, now I'm walking toward my door. I'm walking into my apartment building. I'm walking up the steps. And I'm walking into my apartment. This is it. And I'm walking toward my couch. I'm sitting on my couch and I'm looking at my TV. That's it for this video. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.